I am the event director for Equitana USA. I work for Reed Exhibitions, which is now RX Global, that also produces Equitana in Germany. But outside of my work life, so I started riding horses when I was about 7 years old. My mom got me into riding. I come from no equestrian background, but her friend's daughter rode, and she thought it would be a great social time for her and her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Little did she know, it turned into a lifelong obsession and a big financial
Yeah.
agreement on her and
Mm-hmm.
my father's end. So either way, I ended up joining the A circuit in the hunter jumper world, and I had an off-track thoroughbred for my first horse. And we thought she would be a nice little hunter, but she was a little wild, so we ended up doing the children's jumpers.
That's funny.
And everything was wonderful. We were winning. We were about to go to Vermont summer circuit, and I was in a lesson, and she broke her shoulder.
Oh.
And at the age of 12 or 13, when this happened, it was pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
But that kind of also spurred an opportunity to ride a ton of other horses for people. And I also switched to the equitation. So I ended up with a big eq horse. That was my pride and joy. He was a big black Hanoverian. His name was Wolfie.
Aw, how sweet.
And this was my whole life. I didn't go to the mall with friends. I didn't go to movies. It was all about horse shows and points and lessons. And I was a working student, so I was gardening at my trainer's house, and I was braiding at 3 a.m. and flipping horses and anything to kind of make ends meet and get some extra lessons. And that was wonderful until I turned about 17 years old. My parents said, "Do you want a new car, or would you prefer to keep riding?" And I was like, I am so burnt out. I love the horses, but I'm done. And I kind of gave it up. I had a social life. I went to the University of Connecticut. That was in 2000. And I originally wanted to be a vet, like many equestrians do. And they said out of about 400 kids, who wants to be a vet? And we all raised our hands. It was an animal science class. And they said, 3 of you will make it.
Wow.
And I immediately said, I don't know how dedicated I am to studying right now. I just want to party and have fun. So I switched to marketing, and that led me outside of horses and into the marketing world, where I worked for Guess Watches.
Cool.
And kind of worked my way up the ranks from starting as an administrative assistant to the SVP of product and marketing, and ended up becoming the marketing and PR manager for North and South America. Throughout all this, though, I still loved horses and I thought about them, but I wanted to get my career established. I was having a family. I wasn't financially stable enough in my own world to be supporting myself at this point. So it was always on the back burner, but never went back to lessons or went back to anything of that nature. And then I ended up getting a job as a marketing director for a jewelry show at Reed Exhibitions and moved over to there. And then I kind of said after a couple of years, you know what? I have my family, I have my career, I love what I do, and I should do something for myself. So I decided to look around and I went for some lessons and immediately fell back in love with it. I keep saying I probably couldn't ride a bike again, but I could get back on a horse. So did that. And then ironically, right around the same time, Reed Exhibitions had said, you know what, we're going to launch a USA version of Equitana. We need someone to run it. And I was lucky in my career that I was kind of ready to move up from the marketing director role and try something new. And I had just gotten my passion and my life back into horses. So although that never left, I was able to finally mesh both my personal life and my professional life. And that's kind of where I am at this point.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot. So now you head up then Equitana, correct? And do
Correct.
that. And so am I correct? I mean, was there an Equitana years and years ago, and did it stop for a bit and came back, or am I mistaken on that? I could be very mistaken on that.
No, you are not mistaken. You are correct. So Equitana, the one in Germany, is kind of the main one that owns the license and owns the name, and it's their brand, and that's part of our company. For other events like the one in Australia and Melbourne, and there's one in New Zealand, there's a licensing agreement. So it's not run by Reed Exhibitions, but there are Equitana brands, and they work very closely with our company to make sure they're brand appropriate, but they know their markets. So back in the 90s,
Yes.
Equitana was in the USA. It was, I
Yes.
think, 96, 97-ish.
We were there.
And it was in Louisville,
Yes, we
in
were
Kentucky,
there.
not the horse park, but in
Yes,
Louisville.
we were there.
And yeah, so
Yes, long time
it was
ago we were there.
wonderful.
Yes.
And ironically, I recently connected with the event director from that show and kind of said, you know, what happened? Why did it not continue? And she said, honestly, it was negotiations with the license and the name, and it had nothing to do with the vendors or the people. They all loved the event. And she said it was kind of the best time in her career. Now she works in trade shows for something else, but she was like, we would have done anything to continue it.
Aw.
And then 9/11 happened and kind of the world changed. So they never got back up and running with the negotiations and things going on. So it kind of fell by the wayside. And the Reed Exhibitions North America office wasn't geared towards horses. They were working in other industries. So it never really became a thing again until these past couple of years.
Wow, how exciting. That's really exciting.
So when you took this on, did you have to develop your own agenda of what you had to do, or was this like all laid out for you, or how did you know how to do this particular job?
So previously I worked in marketing. So marketing, we always joke from the trade show world and other companies that it's kind of the dumping ground for everything. So in the best and worst way possible, where we have to work with everyone. We work with operations, we work with sales, we work with event support, we work with customers. We kind of have to know who to go to and who to work with for every little bit. So I was lucky enough to have that background, but also lucky enough to work in tandem with the German team. So they had laid out what Equitana was for many years. It's shopping, education, and entertainment. So we knew that those three pillars had to be a part of it. But they had also said, you know what, we don't know the US market. We don't know equestrians there. We don't know the clinicians. So we need someone who has an equestrian background to really run this show and take it and mold it into what you need in the American market. So I kind of took everything that I had from the marketing background and that I had learned through the years of working on trade shows and producing them with the equestrian side and the Equitana framework. But also we're lucky enough to have both equestrians and non-equestrians on the team. So like our operations manager is a lifelong equestrian, and she knows there's intake paperwork for health, and there's Coggins and things that we knew for fencing and things we knew for stabling. And we can talk to someone at our trade show company and say, oh yeah, we need muck buckets and there's some green horses coming in. And they look at us like we have 10 heads. And we put together a terminology sheet for our team. It's like lunge line, farrier, things like that. Because to us, it's second nature. We say, oh, can you move the standard? They're going to look at us like, I have no idea what you want us to move. But so we have a little bit of everything, what's made it much easier to put together, but there's still kind of a learning curve on some sides. But we were able to take everyone's expertise in what they do, whether it was trade show production or equestrian or marketing and all that, and build it together. So it's been great.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So this Equitana now, does it, look the same as kind of Equitana did, or what's new with it then at this point, or what is it? I know the vendors and so forth and people are different, but is there a new twist to it, or is it kind of the same, like generalized, like platform for it, or?
It's pretty classic because we have to stick in that Equitana mold with the education, the entertainment, and the shopping. So we have our trade fair. And if anyone's been to Land Rover or Briarfest, we have at the Kentucky Horse Park, it's basically the same footprint without the cross-country course. So we have vendors in the covered arena, and then they kind of snake all the way up the hill to the Walnut Ring and the Rolex Arena. And then we have, so all of those arenas, I think there's 5 of them offhand. And then we have the theater and the visitor center. We have a stage in the covered arena. So we have all the riding demos and clinics and sessions and horsemanship and body work, kind of those things. But then we have panels with like Philip Dutton and Laura Graves and Sydney Collier for things about the Olympics. So we were able to take kind of everything that encompasses the horse world, and we focus on all disciplines and all types of teaching and all ages to bring it all together and still have those 3 pillars, but really kind of make it a celebration of the horse where people, no matter what their background, could learn from.
Sounds wonderful.
So what's your favorite part of Equitana?
I have to say it's the clinics,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
I am so sad that I am working because
Aw.
I would do anything to ride in one
That's
of these.
sad. Aw.
Yeah.
Aw, aw,
Yeah, that's
No,
very cool.
yes.
I've
So,
been telling people if I'm missing at any point, I'm auditing a clinic, but I probably have like a baseball hat on and sunglasses,
There
so
you
no
go.
one knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
It's not me. I'm incognito.
so what do people need to know that come? Like, what do just normal everyday people need to know that come? Like, what should they bring? Are there anything that you need to like be careful of when there's horses and riders around, or what would you tell somebody who's brand new to coming to one of these places?
Sure. So bring comfortable shoes that you don't care about getting dirty. We've even told our show
Okay.
team that you're going to be walking a ton. The horse park is huge. And even outside of our show, there's a horse show going on, the Jumpstart Horse Trials, which people can go watch and see kind of a real competition. And there's a ton of museums and things at the park that it'll take you 15, 20 minutes to probably walk there, but it's well worth it. You can buy tickets on site. So people are kind of asking like, oh, do I wait? Do I buy
Okay.
tickets now? Why should I get them now? And being in a pandemic, I know there's a lot of, is it really going to happen? Because we all know over the past year and a half that we buy tickets for things. And then 2 days before they say, oh, something happened and we can't have it.
Right.
So that is, I mean, it's hard, even especially for event production people. Like we did have to cancel the evening show, which was sad. But I mean, the goal was to really launch this event with everything, but then there were challenges that being in the All-Tech Arena in an indoor facility with designated seating, that just, it made it that we couldn't put on the production that we really needed to launch this event for this theatrical Cirque du Soleil style show that we weren't going to have people pay for tickets and get all excited. And then especially when we're kicking this event off, not have the talent that we had because some people couldn't ship in because of limitations. And we just felt, you know what, from a customer perspective, we weren't going to force people to buy tickets and have them not get the best of the best. So we're lucky enough to still have the daytime event because it is outdoors and it's in a park, and there's a lot more opportunities to produce an event that's doable during a pandemic. So yeah, you can buy tickets on site, which is good to know. And I guess come with questions, because a lot of these panels and demonstrations and these clinics, they're not all about watching. I mean, the people that present them want to interact with the audience, and they want to know what you want to know. I mean, how many times do we go somewhere and someone asks, do you have any questions? And we all kind of sit there dumbfounded, kind of like, oh, I didn't think that we were going to be able to be asking questions. But equestrians are people too. And I know like some of them are these big Olympic equestrians. We even have Carson Kressley going to be there because he's an Olympian. And you kind of think, oh, I'm a little starstruck.
Yeah.
But these people are here to help you, and they're here to work with you, and they want to be a part of it as well to help the industry. So be prepared to interact with people and have kind of that bucket of questions ready with you.
Wow. It's so huge. It's such a big thing to put together. I mean, I just can't imagine. Do you look over all the divisions and of everything, or do you work in certain specific area? I mean, you're over the whole thing, aren't you? Trying to put everything. I don't know how you do it.
A lot of sleepless nights.
Yes,
I
I can understand that.
Yeah, but I always say, I mean, I don't think I could ever be an event director, and probably this will probably come to bite me years from now when I'm like working in a golf industry or something, but I don't think I could be an event director outside of the horse world. I always said, people said like, why do you want to be an event director? There's so much to do and so much stress, and you have to deal with budgets and numbers. And I'm like, it's all for horses. I don't know what it is. I know it sounds cheesy, but I will do anything to like, I get to talk to you guys. I get to talk to organizations and associations that I've paid dues to my entire life. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I get to be really a part of this, not just an equestrian and a member, but really part of the industry. And like I said, talking to you and talking to other brands that really make this industry what it is. So even when I have horrible days, or I'm trying to squeeze in a bunch of phone calls and people are calling me, or someone has to cancel, or all those bad times, I'm kind of like, but I get to deal with all these people that I've admired and loved and like looked up to for so long. And now that's my job.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's
how
cool.
many horses are actually then brought in? Like, do you have a an idea for like, I mean, clinics and so forth? I mean, do you have to, the stabling and all this type of thing, how many horses do you have to be prepared to have come in?
So now that we don't have the evening show, it's a bit less, but we are over 200 horses coming in, and those are just stabling. So some horses are shipping in and out. Like if there's someone riding in a clinic for a day, they're not gonna need a stall. So probably about 300 horses by the time we're done, all said and done. And being year one, I mean, the event in Germany, we hope to be what they are, but next year's their 50th anniversary.
Wow.
So they've been around forever. They get 250,000 people that come every other year. And it's like this insane event. And people keep saying, well, shouldn't you have that yet? And we're like, this is our first event. So we hope in 50 years we'll be like that. But we also want to make sure we build it and curate it and design it to what people want in the market.
Right.
We don't just want to say, we know what we're doing because we have an event in Germany and it's great and we're going to bring it here. That's not going to work either. So we keep saying we're going to set our year one goals doable and make sure everyone's happy, and then we can build it to what people need in the future.
So have you been to the event in Germany?
Ironically, we decided to launch this in 2018. We had the German team come to the Kentucky Horse Park, and they said it had to be the perfect storm. So we sat around in the Rolex Arena in this beautiful room up top that looks over kind of like the mecca of the horse industry. And it was USCF was there, Pony Club, Kentucky Horse Park Foundation, government officials, the German team, myself. And we all kind of sat there and said, you know what, should we do this? Should we not? Is it the perfect venue? Is it the perfect this? Is it the perfect that? And this was October 2018. So they were having their event in 2019. So as soon as they said, yep, we got the green light, then myself, our operations manager, Johanna Moore, which I said was a lifelong equestrian, and a couple other people actually from the horse park, from Visit Lex, and from Reed Exhibitions North America, we went over to the show. And we were able to see exactly what they did. I stayed for about a week. I think it's about 13 days. But I went to the evening events. I went to the clinics and the sessions and walked around with the event director there, who's wonderful. And she's been doing this for many, many years. So we were able to really see exactly how they run the event and what we need to do to keep that brand and keep the event as whole as it can from a global perspective, but also kind of things like, ooh, that might not work in our market, but you know what, we could do X, Y, and Z and have that same idea, but have it work well where we are, things like that. So it was extremely helpful. And I don't think we could have really created an event like it without having seen it in person. It's insane for the best way of insane.
Wow, that's exciting. I remember when we went in the 90s, at that time too, like pin trading was a big thing. And I had the pin. I just looked at it before we came in here. I had the little red pin from the first one that we went to, which is kind of exciting. I hope that comes back again. That was really sweet. Maybe the little pin will be meaningful. I mean, it's so cute. It's just a little red pin, with Equitana on it. Very cute.
So I totally I didn't drop the ball. So here's the thing. So the plan was to have pins and everything. So we have merchandise, right?
Yeah.
And one of the girls who was on our marketing team had said, I'm a pin collector. And I said, oh my gosh, I used to ski as a kid, and every ski mountain I went to, I got a pin, and I still have like this piece of fabric with all these pins stuck to it. People are like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, well, it's my pin.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Right.
I know.
It's a big deal.
So pins was like the first thing we were going to make. And we were working with this major company that kept saying they were delayed with like the enamels and stuff because of COVID. And we were like,
yeah.
So I apologize that year one will not have a pin, and I feel horrible.
Year two.
But we will make up for it. Yes.
I have to get a pin.
But we do have, so Sarah Lynn Richards, who did artwork for the one in the 90s, did our poster artwork.
How cool.
Oh, that's exciting.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
So I hope I earned a couple points back
There
on
you
that.
go.
but I really
Absolutely.
did.
Absolutely. That's exciting. That's really fun to know, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kind of a cute thing, but you kind of hang out to those and you look back at them and you go, oh, gosh, that was from then, So, yeah, very exciting.
Totally.
I think that's great that you guys thought about that and would even think about bringing it back, because I think people like it. The stickers are the big thing, too, I think, but the pins are, I think because it was, the Olympics and everything used to do that, like tons of pins from those types of of things, you know, it's pretty
Yeah.
nostalgic.
Mhm.
How
I
exciting.
know.
Very
We
exciting.
do
In
have
the
a bunch
horse
of
world.
merchandise though.
There you go.
Yes.
Very
So
good.
what type
Total.
of merchandise do you have this year? Like what's the trendy thing and what was really cool?
I think my favorite pieces, I'll have to say, so I'm a big boot sock person.
Mhm.
I like live and breathe for cool boot socks. So we of course work with Dreamers and Schemers because I love their stuff. So they put some socks together. And Tucker Tweed, I'd say. So they made the Wellington wristlet
Mhm.
and it's logoed in a couple different colors. So it's beautiful. I have one that I kind of scammed right here.
Oh,
We have
Can
them
we see
too.
it?
We
Let's
love
see
it.
what
We
your
have
color
ours
is.
too. We use them
Yes, I
every
give you a
day.
preview.
Yep.
Yeah, we use
We
ours.
use
We love
Tucker-
them.
Tucker Tweed every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So here's
Oh, that's the same one I have.
Kristen has
the
that.
logo.
Oh, but you have the
Very
logo.
cool.
That's cool. Aw, very cool.
We have Jill from Tucker Tweed made the Devon Day bag as well. So I'm hoping to scam myself one of those.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yeah, I love them.
How exciting.
And then we have like the sweatshirts, we have logoed sweatshirts, we have t-shirts, we have water bottles, rocks glasses to celebrate kind of the bourbon
Oh, that's
background of
cool.
Kentucky.
Ooh. I like that.
Hats, stickers, magnets, stick ponies. I don't know if you guys have seen
cute.
the YouTube videos with a lot of it's in Europe, but I'm sure they exist here because I'm a big horseless horse show person myself. I will set up jumps in my front yard. But the stick ponies, it's like the stick with the little plush head,
Mhm.
Aw.
and people horse show those, which I just learned.
For
We have
real?
those.
I've never heard of that.
Me neither.
I highly recommend you Google it. We found a ton
need
of
to
stuff
find
when we
that.
were doing research for
Yeah.
Equitana. We were like,
Cute. Yeah.
does this exist?
We'll have to tell Gretchen and get her on that. That's
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yes.
Aw, that's cute.
Totally. Totally.
Well, it sounds like a good lineup of things. That's for
I hope you
certain.
kept a
Yeah.
mental list of all the things you have to get while you're down there for us.
I know.
Yeah.
So Gretchen
yeah.
and I are going, but they're not gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll have to hook us up and
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to know where the
we'll have
goodies
to
are.
bring stuff back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
That'll be fun.
definitely.
That's
Wear them with
exciting.
pride and then be there next
There you
year.
go.
That's
Yes.
right. That's
And I'll
Yeah.
bring my pin. No.
Right.
And I'll have your pin for you.
There you
next
go.
year.
Okay. I'll see you there then. Okay.
So, from a vendor perspective, if people are going this year just to check it out, what are the benefits of being a vendor there? How many people are you expecting to walk
Yeah.
through?
Mhm.
And kind of what are those selling points?
Sure. So being a vendor, you get access to a ton of people. So you get access to everyone who's either just starting out. So no matter what kind of products you have, there's a buyer there for whether you're like you guys that have this long-standing company for building barns and materials and that nature, or if you're your mother and your 5-year-old daughter starting out riding and you're looking for her first pair of breeches or a pair of paddock boots. It really gives you access to all those types of people. And you can, even if you have multiple products, then you can talk to people about those products. So you might be talking to the mom whose daughter just started riding, but in the future, they can always think back and say, oh yeah, now we're looking for a stable and, we have the property. So remember that company that we met at Equitana years ago?
Yes.
We still have a business card somewhere, or, we
Yeah,
can Google them
that's
real
true.
quick and see if we can get in touch with them.
We
So
do that.
it really runs the gamut. In regards to the amount of people, I mean, being a brand new event, we really don't know.
Yeah.
And being in a pandemic, we don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So the goal originally was about 17 or 18,000, and that was easy when we weren't in a pandemic. But of course, it ebbs and flows. I mean, today it can say Kentucky's perfect, and tomorrow they can say, oh God. And then
Right.
people, even though
Yeah.
we've sold the tickets, it doesn't mean they're going to show up.
Right.
It's really, I mean, we're hopeful for about 10,000 at this point because of the pandemic. We wanted to be realistic about things and not say, yeah, we still think there'll be almost 20,000 people there. And then, you know what, people even aren't traveling yet. So
Right.
Yeah.
it does limit, I mean, even international exhibitors that we had loads of them. And that's one of the selling features of the event, that you get to shop brands that you only see in maybe the German show that isn't in the US. But this year they couldn't physically get here. I mean, whether they were attendees or exhibitors. So we do have realistic expectations of kind of where it's going to put us this year, but we knew we had to get it off the ground. And
Yeah.
the fact that we can have events, you know what, we couldn't say, hold on, wait another year, just keep waiting. We said, we'll do everything that we can to give everyone their best experience, whether they're a consumer, whether they're a vendor, and make sure that this event finally kicks off and then we can build it in the future. But we really didn't want to keep holding it and just keep pushing it out. It's been too long and too many years at this point.
I wonder, you know, if you will get like, you know, for us right now, the demand is so great. You know, I wonder if people are just ready to get out and you get that overflow, you know, which would be
I was
exciting.
wondering that too.
Yeah. I'm just thinking so many people are, you know, they're ready to do some of the things they used to do and see some really nice things. Yeah. So I hope that goes for you that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially in the horse world. I mean, it's been hard because we read exhibitions. We have a ton of different industries. So there's jewelry, there's golf, there's hardware, and all these industries have been affected. But we always went to sales meetings and other meetings and said, you know what, people are out in full force riding their horses and shopping for them. So a number of equestrian businesses have done so well, even though potentially production's been affected. And like apparel, when India was struck by the pandemic really bad, there was really difficult getting things, but and like the wood prices have gone. I have construction going on in my house, they're through the roof. But at the same point, people always have horses, and it was one of the sports that people could do and continue to do. And you can't go to the grocery store, you have to wear a mask, but you can go to the barn and spend time with your horse, and they still have to eat, they have to be ridden, they have to be taken care of. So it's been an interesting world to kind of live in and watch the changes and try and explain to the powers that be at the company I work for, like, it's a very different industry.
Right. Between the people that have horses and don't, that is quite a flip-flop of, you know, ideas. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Even from a marketing perspective, we had presidents of our company and people that are not in the horse space but come in the trade show world, and they'd say, well, who's your target market? And we'd start to rattle off like, well, there's 18 recognized disciplines, but there's really 70 something across the world. And then it's all ages, it's all genders, it's all backgrounds. And they're like, can't even wrap their head around, like, how do you start to market to these people? And I'm like, it's all the associations, it's the vendors, it's the groups, because it's really one of the only sports that men, women, kids, adults,
isn't it the truth?
Runs the gamut. Whether you want to play polo cross, or you want to go jump things, or you want to do dressage, you can do it all.
It's so faceted. We always say it's so extremely faceted, and that's what we love. Like with the podcast too, we get so many. I mean, the lifestyle is just endless, you know, of all the different people and different things. So this is really interesting.
The common theme is that, like, so we grew up with horses. Grew up with horses. My mom, you know, my mom's the horse crazy girl. So there's the common theme to me is the crazy horse people who are like, I saw the horse, I just had to have the horse. I was 5 years old. It was in my blood. You know, like that's the thing. That's the common thing. It doesn't matter what discipline you are. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. That's the common theme.
Or
it's just
age either. It doesn't, it just doesn't. There's no age. You know, there just isn't.
No. And I keep saying, like, I know people that I connect with now, and they're like, oh, I haven't ridden in 20 years and I'm 70 years old. I said, it doesn't matter.
Right. It doesn't.
Like, there is no age. And that is one of the things about Equitana that we started from the beginning. And we said, you know what? It's a celebration of the horse. We don't care what discipline, what background, your financial means, the color of your skin. That's we us. We all come together because of the horses. And even growing up, I rode hunter jumper, and back then it was like, ooh, you don't talk to the dressage people, or you don't deal with the and now I'm like, okay,
separate categories.
They did us a very big disservice, because now I will look at everything, and I'm like, I can learn so much from the dressage rider, and I go to her barn and watch lessons, and then I'm like, oh, Philip Dutton, great, I can't wait to watch like his master class, because there's stuff that I can take back to what I ride in. So
you didn't dare cross over, siloed, you know, you just didn't dare. It was them and then you and then them, you know.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more open though, which I think is great. I think, you know, growing up in it, it's different because you don't know what you have until it's gone. So then when I got married and like I didn't have that anymore, it was a little bit different. So now I feel like that strong urge to like, we're making a place to ride. And so it is in us, even though, you know, like my mom is the one who had the dreams when she was little. We just had them when we were little. We didn't know the difference and didn't know that we were, but yeah, we are too.
Then you take something that you've done as your, you know, it is not a hobby. It's your life, kind of your lifestyle. And then you turn into a business, and then that all changes things too, because you get so busy. But you can't help
Yeah.
it because you love talking to the people just like this. You see
Yeah.
so many people, you see them come and their enthusiasm for the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's such a wonderful thing. It's the common thread that binds us all together.
Totally.
Mhm.
That's what I've had people ask, like, oh, you can just talk and talk. And I'm like, you know what? I can't. When I go to a party for like my daughter's
I
school
love it.
or
So
in
sweet.
a mom's group, it is not good. I can pick up the phone or talk to you guys or anything because we all have this love of
Yes.
horses.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's even like, oh, when you were a kid, my horse
Yes.
stepped on me and
Oh,
I
yes.
this
Oh,
happened.
yes.
And oh my gosh, remember like our predonation saddles, they
Oh,
were
yes.
the in
Oh,
thing.
yes.
But now
That's what we
mine's
still
like
have our
we store
predonation.
in my family room
Right.
and no one would ever
Right.
be caught dead at the barn in
That's
that
what we
now.
have.
But
Predonation saddles still. We have those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. That's cute. That's really cute. Yep.
So if people need to get any updates because we are still in the pandemic, where do they go and like how do they know? Do we have to wear masks? Do we not have to? If, is anything?
And the dates for
Yeah.
it too,
Yep.
please. The information.
yeah, so you should go to our website. It's www.equitanausa.com. And if you go to the About the Show section, there is a drop down for health and safety. And since the pandemic started, being an event production company, we have an entire global task force with legal counsel and a ton of people on this. So they establish documents and procedures for every show based on the venue, the city, the state, the authorities, like soup to nuts, and that's their job. So with everything changing so quickly and on a daily basis, some people say, oh, do we have to wear masks? And I'm like, well, we're 3 weeks out. I
Yeah.
can't tell you what's going to happen
Right.
tomorrow. So
Yeah.
we make sure every update is on the website so we don't have to communicate one-offs and do whatever. We say, you know what, go to the website, and that's honestly your best bet and the most up-to-date information that we have available for you.
Okay. Okay.
And the dates?
October 1st through the 3rd, so coming
Okay,
up.
very
Okay.
soon. There you go.
Right.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll enter our next segment, Canter Banter.
Do you love horses and live the equestrian lifestyle? Be sure to check out our brand new blog at www.yourhorsefarm.com. We publish 3 posts per week and feature a free printable equine checklist every month. Yourhorsefarm.com is a great equine online resource, so be sure to share with all the horse lovers in your life. And remember, laugh much and ride often. Our next segment, Canter Banter, is brought to you by Ram Horse Fencing and Stalls, the one-stop shop for your horse farm. Ram is family-owned and operated and has been in business for over 30 years. We welcome you to call in and speak with an expert about your next project today at 866-653-8984. Again, that's 866-653-8984.
The other day, my daughter's getting ready for school. She's 7. She's in 2nd grade, and I was hoping to hold off on her riding as long as possible because I know once she starts to ride, then I have to probably take a step back a little bit because there's only so many funds that can go around.
Right.
So she wakes up and we're getting ready for school, and she says, I had a dream last night.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, you want to tell me about it? And she starts to cry. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? And she's like, I had a dream that I had this white pony and we had the barn out back, and she's pointing out the window and she's like, the fencing was here and the barn, and I had all this and that. And I woke up and we don't have the pony. And I was like, devastated
boy,
internally,
Meghan.
like, dear God, I have to get her a pony.
Oh,
I don't-
no.
Yeah.
This is not the time to be getting her a pony. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we are at this point with my daughter. So now I feel I have to get her a pony.
You
So
do.
we'll see how
I
this
have to
goes.
tell you.
Maybe I'll come home with one from Equitana this year. I don't know.
You will.
I have to tell you the side to that story that you probably need to hear. But, now when I was 5, I did that to my parents and told them that, I had this dream, and I kept on asking them for a horse, and that's how I got my first horse. Now, at my age today, I still have horses, 10 too many. So your little daughter, be prepared that if she wants it that bad and you give it to her, it may go straight through life. So it's the most exciting thing that'll ever happen. So I had the same thing happen. It's so cute.
Well,
So,
thank you.
it's very
I'm glad
sweet.
it's not just her. It's
No.
funny. I was lucky enough to have horses too, and she keeps saying, you know what? Nana and Grandpa bought you a horse. They can get me a pony.
Oh,
now."
no.
That's on you. You can convince them, but yeah, I feel like even though I love to show and ride, I feel like there's in the near future. She's
Yeah.
asking a horse show already, and she's only posting trot at this point. So I think I'm gonna have to take a step back sooner or later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Aw.
Fulfill her dreams. Like, luckily I was able to, but yeah, I
Yeah.
can't be selfish forever.
Another little
Yeah.
horse girl in the making.
That's cool.
Yep, very cool.
We hope you enjoyed listening to our podcast and encourage you to share with all your equestrian family and friends. You can tune into the Late Night Riders podcast show every Friday night. Each episode will be uploaded exclusively on YouTube, where you can subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with all of our latest shows. Do you have a topic you'd like us to discuss? We want to hear from you. You may email us at podcast@ramfence.com or feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you again for listening.